Welcome to Lock&Hackle. This can be a real short intro. I told you I was going to do a video on the Douglas era fly rod, and this is like the second or third take. I had the thing assembled. I was going to try and do it outside, but it's overcast. Lighting kind of sucks, so I had to kind of bring it inside. I'm going to review the rod in pieces instead of one piece. That way I can kind of show it to you a little better. Trying to show a fly rod on camera, unless you have a large open area like a warehouse or a shop or something like that, it's kind of hard to do. So let's turn this camera around and let's get into the video. Show the era fly rod, Lock&Hackle. Here we are. Got the camera turned around. I am not going to be in front of the camera today, but here we are. So here is the Douglas fly rod, and I have with me some notes that I'm going to go over. If you're not familiar with Douglas Rod Company, they're fairly new to the game. They started out around 2014, and they were kind of a boutique fishing company. They did fly rods and spinning rods. I don't think their blanks are made here. At least this particular one, I don't think this blank is made in the United States, not at the cost that, not at the price that they're selling these. So we're going to touch on that here in a minute. So like I said, they're fairly new to the industry. 2014, that's what, 6, 7, 8, 9. About 8 years in the game. Now, their higher end rods kind of go with companies like Sage and Scott, some of the higher end Orvis rods, along with some of the Thomas & Thomas. So this particular rod, I got it at a local big box store for around, I think it was $147. It was $167. I'll go ahead and tell you, it was at Cabela's. I had seen them there. I did some research. So what Douglas has done is they make this era series of rods in 2 weights. They make it in a 5 weight and then an 8 weight. The 8 weight is designed more for some of your heavy bass and light saltwater. The 5 weight really is designed for all-around trout fishing. What you get with the rod is you get this rod tube that inside it's sectioned into 4 pieces. So each rod piece has its own pocket. It does not come with a rod sleeve or something that you would put these in. So each compartment is designed to hold one of the 4 pieces for the rod. It's quite self-explanatory. The color of the rod. I'm going to go over some pros and cons here. Okay, first off, I told you it's the Era by Douglas. It is a 5 weight, 9 foot, 4 piece. The color, I had to find something, a background to really put this on because it's such an odd color. I had a white background and it blended in too much. I had like a gray background that really didn't work, so I had to use this really annoying red towel to kind of get it to pop the color of this rod. It's kind of like a flat battleship gray, which is an odd color, but I think they did that for one, the blank. It's probably fairly inexpensive for them to produce overseas, and the color kind of makes it stand out on the rack of fly rods. So when you're walking around and you see the myriad of browns and greens, this one catches your eye. So I'm going to go over the pros first. Pros are the cost. And for what you're getting from a boutique rod manufacturer is a lot of nice accoutrements, if you will. You have kind of this mesh of EVA foam and cork on the handle. The reel seat is not bad. It's kind of a anodized aluminum reel seat. Nothing real spectacular there. It's quite easy to find the lockup for it. Nice big hole there, sticks out. You do have a hook keeper right here. You have epoxy up here under the labeling, and then these only 2 decorative white windings, which is weird. Everything else is a gray winding on there, and then epoxied, as you can see. So it's kind of a weird, almost like it's not finished. I did put alignment dots on mine, just a simple Sharpie right there. If you're like me, you're out there early in the morning, it's really hard to see. You're using a headlamp. Next thing you know, your guides are all mixed matched going down the way. So the color is odd. That's odd, weird. The company, Douglas, they do have a really good warranty as long as you go online, take your receipt, and fill out the warranty information. They will, according to their website, it's a limited lifetime warranty. And if for some reason you own a discontinued rod, they will replace that rod with a comparable model. So if for some reason they stopped making the Era, but then they introduced another budget model, maybe it's a different color, different handle, but it's in that same price range, they will replace it. That's pretty cool. To me, I think the company out there that has the best warranty is TFO. So casting, it casts really, really well. It has kind of a mid to tip flex with a almost no flex in the butt section. I mean, barely any. I am pressing hard down on that, and there's barely any. Then you get a little bit more here, and then a lot more here, and then a whole lot right here. So you get a lot of backbone for fighting that trout that just doesn't want to come out of the run. The other thing, it is 4 pieces. So it is easier to transport since it does come with a rod tube. Being 4 pieces makes it easier to throw in the trunk of your car, travel, all that kind of stuff. The cons. One of the cons I have for this is the color. Kind of weird, but it might be a marketing thing. It stands out on the shelf. It gets people to buy this particular rod, which is the 5-weight, or maybe buy the 8-weight, which has the double tapered handle on it, so the double swell versus the cigar. And I think it has 2 large stripping guides instead of 1 on this one. Another con is the reel seat. It has 1 locking ring. It looks like it's 2, but it's actually not. It's just 1. It is knurled. It didn't come loose, but I do like 2 locking rings because that way you can tighten up one on the other if you spend the day doing a lot of double hauling, so on and so forth. And this particular end of the reel seat, I know it kind of matches the locking nut, but that's kind of uncomfortable when you're carrying it for a long time during the day. I found that was getting snagged on stuff, on my clothing, so on and so forth. It's pretty sharp. It's got some sharp angles. I just think there could have been, it's almost unfinished. You know what I mean? On their regular rods, they have the Douglas emblem, which is that right there, on the back of this. I don't think they put that there for the simple fact that to engrave it into it would, again, cost more money. And if it was just a decal, it's going to get rubbed off anyway. So those are my pros and my cons. My opinion, should you own a Douglas fly rod? Well, if you're like me, if you're like me, you never have enough. They're like potato chips. You can't eat just one. And it's always good to have a backup fly rod with you. So if I'm going to be out, if I either have my 4-piece Orvis rod or my 4-piece TFO, I now have another that I can alternate back with. If I know I'm going to a place where I'm going to be doing lots of trudging through the woods and I want a rod that's a lot stiffer, that can handle being beaten through the brush, this is a good one. Also, if I drop it, it stands out. It's very bright. If I drop it and I'm in the water, even if it's shallow, I'm going to see this thing in the water because it is so bright. Unless the water is murky, then whatever fly rod you have, you're not going to find it. Anyway, again, the casting, before I took it out, I did some casting out in front of my house. I was using a street sign as my target, and I was able to get, with little effort, get my line to drop within 6 to 8 inches of either side or in front of that post from about 50 feet, which is really good. Lots of real good line management with this fly rod. Other than that, there's really nothing. There's other rods out there that are comparable to this. There's the Orvis Encounter package, which I think is great. Some of your TFO Lefty Cray rods in this same price point. But if you want something a little bit different from a new manufacturer, that's kind of making things for the new fly fisher, the younger fly fisher, where they like things a little bit more clean cut, less frills, this would be the rod for you. They also make spinning rods. I looked at some of those, and for me, they're a little too pricey. I'm just not that big of a spin caster, and I don't put that much emphasis on my rod as I do in a spin caster more than I do the reel. In fly fishing, your rod and your line are going to be the two most important things. This is the reel I had on it. This is just a Orvis Clearwater 2. It's a simple cast aluminum reel, and I believe the line on here is, it's either Rio or Scientific Angler. It's Scientific Angler. It's what it is. Weight forward 5-weight with some really nice backing on there. I actually ordered this separately. I don't have a Clearwater rod. I was just looking for another big large arbor reel, since I only had one other one. So you can order these separately. And the reel, yeah, it does have to do a lot of the work, but in some of your trout fishing, it pretty much just holds the line. Having the ability to adjust your drag is okay, but a lot of times you can manage the fish with just your fingers, and the rod itself will fight the fish. So on that note, if you're out and about and your local fly shop or big box store has one of these Douglas fly rods, I would say pick one up. If you've got, extra $150, or maybe you looking for the holidays, your wife or girlfriend or your husband or boyfriend says, what do you want for Christmas? Say, hey, I've seen these new fly rods. Maybe add that to our collection. All right. With that, Lock and Hackle, signing out.